Hi everyone, back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. No rants, just nothing but thoughts and positive thoughts. Today marks a very special anniversary for those who didn't know, if it crept up on you or maybe even passed you by. Today is Alan Shearer Day, Newcastle United fans. This day, 28 years ago, how mad does that sound? Newcastle United broke the world record transfer fee of 15 million quid to sign Alan Shearer from Blackburn Rovers in 1996, pipping Manchester United to the post for the England striker, the number 9, the goal machine that he is. It was amazing to beat those bastards because we were trying to beat them to the Premier League. They'd done us the season before. We wanted to beat them the season after. Let's not get into what happened after that. Manchester United fans, shithouses will be in the comments, no doubt. But we signed Alan Shearer. He wanted to come home. He nearly signed for Man United. He was that close to signing for them. Ironically enough, a second meeting with Kevin Keegan in Manchester sealed the deal and brought the son of a sheet metal worker from Gosforth back home, as he rightly said as well. And what a homecoming it was as well for Alan. I don't know what the hell happened in the North East that day. I must have been the school little loser that I was, but loads of people weren't, because there was about 30,000 Newcastle fans standing outside the ground waiting to greet the returning hero. As Alan Robson introduced him to the crowd, he come out with a number 9 shirt on, a shirt that he agreed to get from Les Ferdinand with a lot of Kevin Keegan management skills. Huge credit to Les Ferdinand for being a grown-up about it, not being a little bitch like a lot of these modern-day footballers are, and decided to take the number 10 shirt and play alongside Alan. What a partnership they had in the first season. They were together. More on that in a second. Alan came out. He was introduced to the crowd, as I'm sure Mark's pulling pictures up right now with the wonder of his editing skills. And we had, outside of Ronaldo at Barcelona, probably the best striker in world football coming to Newcastle United. And it was so exciting. It was absolutely incredible. The first season Alan was with us, 25 goals Alan scored in the first season, but it was absolutely incredible. As a matter of fact, across the 10 seasons Alan Shearer had during his time at Newcastle United, I think he got over 20 goals for those seasons. And then I think 7 of the 10 he got into double digits. The only ones that he didn't is when he had real serious cruciate injuries and he was out for the majority of the season. I remember him coming back. I think it was the 97, possibly 97 season. He came back from injury and basically got us up to the FA Cup final single-handedly, really on his own, because there was a shit team. And that's another thing to think about with Alan Shearer. So 405 appearances, 206 goals, absolutely incredible statistics. 57 assists as well, by the way, in those 10 years. Absolutely incredible. But if you think about some of the turgid shit that Alan Shearer had to play with during his spell at Newcastle United, I mean, yes, he had some quality, no doubt. When he first signed, he had Keith Gillespie, he had David Ginola, he had Rob Lee, he had Peter Beardsley giving him the ball. Those players slowly disappeared off, and he ended up with bags of shite like Silvio Maric and Des Hamilton and Stephen Glass. And, when Dalglish played his fucking son, Paul, in the team, who was dog shit, and then Bobby Robson came in to save us, thank God, and brought in Nobby Solano and brought in Robert. Actually, I think Solano was actually brought in the Hullett era, which was doomed. Shearer nearly left the club in the Hullett era. That's the scary part about this. If Ruud Hullett had been backed by the Newcastle board, Alan Shearer would have left Newcastle. He wouldn't have become our record goal scorer. He probably wouldn't have a statue of himself outside of the ground. Thankfully, common sense prevailed. Old Spiderhead was booted out after blaming Shearer for losing the derby. No, Ruud, it's because you were a shit manager. Credit to Ruud. He actually came out and admitted that now, that he had a real issue with Alan. It was an ego thing. It was nothing to do with Alan as a player. But throughout the whole 10 seasons that Shearer has been with us, I mean, I think for a large majority of the time when we were dog shit, him alone, possibly with the assistance of Shea Given, kept us in the Premier League. Shearer's goals, Shea's saves, but Shearer's goals, I mean, there's a whole generation of young fans who just don't understand how fucking good this guy was in his prime. I mean, he was unbelievable. Roy the Rovers, that's probably lost on them as well. People throw these fucking polls up on socials now, and you can see the age of the people talking about it straight away. And it's not their fault. They don't really understand, because they'd have to go back and watch YouTube clips of Alan Shearer. I suggest that you do. and then go and do your poll again. Because these people who come and say Aguero is the best number 9 in Premier League history, no, he's not. Even Erling Haaland, no, he's not. He's a great striker, a great goal scorer. He ain't no Alan Shearer, guys. Harry Kane has got closest to anybody to beating Alan's record. Still no Alan Shearer in his prime. Alan Shearer in his prime was absolutely fucking sensational as a centre forward. Any goal you name, he could score them. He could score raspers from 35 yards, volleys, overhead kicks, diving headers. He could score scruffy goals where he hit off his face and went in. He scored free kicks. He scored penalties. He even set up goals as well. Go back and look at the 5-0 against Manchester United. I actually watched that the other day. I was feeling quite nostalgic. I put it on YouTube and watched it. And the cross he puts in for Les Ferdinand's third goal is fucking incredible. Beckham will be proud of a ball like that. Shearer was a brilliant footballer overall. In his early stage of his career, when he was at Southampton, definitely breaking through. When he was at Blackburn, he had that pace to get in behind the striker. Bad injuries, knee ligament injuries, cruciates, it impacted that pace that he had. When he first came to Newcastle, he still had that little pace over maybe 7 to 10 yards where he could get away from defenders and score goals. But then he had the bad injury at Newcastle, had to readjust his game and really became a kind of focal point number 9, back to goal, swiveling players, smashing them in. The Desai one against Chelsea at St. James's Park, Desai, World Cup winner, gets close to Shearer. Even Desai says, Shearer is one of the hardest opponents he's ever had. He rolls Desai like he's nobody and just rifles it in the back of the net. And that's Shearer coming towards the end of his kind of peak of his powers, and he's still fucking brilliant. Yes, he lost his legs a little bit, but he had clever managers around him, like Sir Bobby Robson, to surround him with pace and get the best out of his game. And he went on and scored goal after goal after goal, even in the kind of in his 30s. People are looking at Harry Kane now, I think he's lost that pace. You look at Kane for Bayern, he's surrounded by pace. That's why he got 50-odd goals. Kane for England isn't really getting those opportunities, which is probably why he looks a bit ropey. But Shearer gave up on England and concentrated on Newcastle because he couldn't do both. He was getting a lot of shit from the media as well. Shearer got 30-odd goals and 60-odd caps for England. So his record is 1 and 2, club and country. An absolutely fantastic centre forward. If he was on the transfer market today, he would cost you about 250 million quid because he's absolutely fucking brilliant. People talk about Erling Haaland as a goal machine. No doubt that he is, but his touch is fucking shit, as Roy Keane said. Shearer had the touch. Shearer had quality. Shearer had the ability to cross a ball, whip it. He could beat a man as well before his pace started to be hampered by the bad injuries. So as a footballer as well, overall as a footballer, he was a very, very good player. Penalty taken. There's hardly anybody else you'd want on the ball, outside of probably Eric Cantona or Matt Le Tissier. I don't think there's been a better penalty taker in world football than Alan Shearer when you look at his statistics. Yes, there'll be some shit you mack him in the comments now going, he missed against Sunderland. But how many did he score, guys? Come on, get over it, for fuck's sake. But Shearer himself as a player, the defenders that he tortured. You look at some of the best defenders who've ever played in the Premier League. You're talking Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Terry, Adams, Sol Campbell, those kind of centre-halves. He tore them. He torturous times, up against them, smashing the elbows, fucking all sorts of stuff, that was Shearer at his prime. There's only one defender I can probably say that he really had a tough time against. That was Jaap Stam, and Shearer says that as well. But, he was a proper number 9, a proper centre forward, head pissing the blood. I remember it was at the Derby game, wearing a big bandage and scoring the winner still, Some of the goals just, they come into your mind. They're just unbelievable strikes. Even his very first one against Wimbledon St. James is a free kick curler in the top corner. Look at the strikers now. Haaland doesn't do that. He can't do that. Aguero didn't really take many free kicks as well, but Aguero was a very different centre forward to Shearer. And the game is different now. You put Alan Shearer into this modern day game now, he would be winning penalties every single game 3 or 4 times over and scoring those penalties probably, given the statistics. Defenders can't touch attackers now. Shearer would have even more goals. Shearer would be scoring 50 to 60 goals a season in this modern day game. He's still the Premier League record goal scorer, 260 goals. If he didn't have the injuries that he had, he probably would have been on 300 plus. Nobody's got near him. Rooney and Kane are the two that's got closest to him. If Rooney hadn't dropped so deep in his later career, maybe Rooney could have beat it. Rooney's a brilliant player. Probably one of the best footballers that England's ever produced, in my opinion. But, as a number 9 out-and-out striker, you wouldn't say that Rooney was Shearer's equal. Rooney's probably a better footballer overall, but not Shearer's equal as a number 9. Harry Kane in his prime. I don't think Harry Kane, Shearer is equal either. You're talking about two of them in their prime. Shearer all day long for me, no doubt about it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hey, if you're not a Newcastle fan, let me know what you think as well. Because I think a lot of football fans, certainly of an age, who saw Alan Shearer play live in the flesh, appreciate how fucking good this guy was. You know, the younger fans, it ain't your fault. Go back and watch clips of him on YouTube and just sit back and watch a masterclass of centre forward play. This guy was a leader. He had an aura about him, a confidence and arrogance that you need as a centre forward. Him and Roy Keane having a battle at St James's Park, you know, two proper winners. You know, you look at those players. I miss those players in this game. This new modern day football game has almost eradicated those types of characters. You know, the blood, sweat, tears, passion of just two players want to go head to head and win, you know, and they were good footballers as well, you know, and the game misses that. The game's too over commercialized, you know, players getting a little poke on the cheek and they go down rolling like they've been shot by fucking Lee Harvey Oswald from the Texas School Book Depository. It's a load of fucking bollocks. You know, going back to this day where football was more pure, there was no more pure goal scorer than Alan Shearer. Any team, certainly the Premier League across Europe, would have wanted to sign Alan Shearer in his prime. Like Bobby Robson even looked at him at Barca at one point. He wanted to sign him because he was that good. And to go back to when Newcastle United had one of the best goal scorers in world football. I mean, arguably, you know, you could say we've got a striker like that now in Alexander Isak, you know, in terms of the whole world is watching Alexander Isak going, this guy is unbelievable. But Shearer was so accomplished, so proven, and so sought after as a centre forward back then that the rest of the world was jealous that Newcastle signed this unbelievable striker. Didn't quite work in terms of silverware for Alan, unfortunately, but as he always says, he wouldn't trade it in for a single moment. He really, really wouldn't. You know, he played for his hometown team. He's an absolute legend, an icon. He's got a statue outside the ground, which is fully deserved, contrary to what the old ownership thought, wankers. He's an absolute legend in the region. He's an icon in Premier League history. He's an icon in English football history. And he's synonymously known with Newcastle United because he's a Geordie born and bred. He's our local hero. He's the best signing the club has ever made, in my opinion. And today really should be a national fucking day in Newcastle. It really, really should. You know, when Alan Shearer came home and signed for Newcastle United, because I don't think there'll be a better signing in the club's history than that guy, 100%. I won't forget about Blackburn Rovers either. They've got a lot of love for Alan. Any Blackburn fans in the comments, let us know your fondest memories of Alan Shearer, because what a goal scorer he was for you lot. He was instrumental in little old Blackburn, you know, rallying against the status quo, doing exactly what Leicester did in modern times and fucking up that whole private party of top 3 or 4 elite teams and winning the league. It pissed everybody off and it was beautiful. And Alan Shearer was a focal point of that Blackburn Rovers side, which I don't think we'll see the likes of ever again. You know, teams coming from nowhere because of all the restrictions and bullshit and financial handcuffs that are attached to teams. Look at Newcastle United and Aston Villa. We can't go big. We can't do that. We can't do what Blackburn did back then or what Chelsea and Manchester City did most recently, because they've stopped that happening. They just want to keep the little tiny VIP clique of teams that are in that, you know, VIP fucking suite, and everyone else can get to fuck outside. But Alan Shearer, what an unbelievable player. I'm so happy that I got to see him in his prime, live in the flesh, doing what he does best. There was nobody who did it better, in my opinion, in that particular era of football. Thank you, Alan, for all the memories. Thank you for 206 goals in a black and white shirt. You absolute fucking legend. I hope wherever you are, you're celebrating your special day, and you know how much you mean to Newcastle United fans and Blackburn fans, but Newcastle United fans across the globe. We are a Newcastle channel after all, Blackburn fans, sorry. But how much you mean to us as a fan base, how much you mean to the fabric, the legacy of the Premier League. You're an absolute fucking legend, mate. He's a great pundit now, brilliant on the podcast, Rest is Football as well. Have a belted day, Alan. Thanks for the memories. And let's hope Alexander Isak can get close to your numbers one day. But I just wanted to jump on and do my quick opinion on this special day. Let us know your fondest memories of Alan Shearer in the comments below. There's so many for me. Probably that Everton volley is the one that stands out the most. But the 5-0 as well. I think the cross for Ferdinand when he was doing this and winding up the Man U fans. Just what a player, what a guy. Absolutely brilliant. That's my thoughts on it, guys. If this is the kind of thing you like, subscribe, like the video, help the channel grow. Have a cracker wherever you are. I'm going to give you one of them as a goodbye to a legacy that is Mr. Shearer. Have a belting day. See you later. Cheers.